Alright. I'm gonna show you how to put this engine together. I'm probably not gonna be talking for most of this, but just basically follow what I do. Probably if you're starting out for the first time, you're probably gonna be using the spanner set, but this is pretty much the same thing, but just with sockets. It's quicker, it's better. You get it from this catalog. You have to get these from the store in town, but everything on this shelf here can break. Everything on this shelf cannot break. So if you're looking to replace parts, it's most likely going to be these ones, because these ones can break. And when you start the game for the first time, these are all in a specific order on the shelf, but I'm pretty much going to show you how to put this stuff all together. Start with the engine block, and you start with the crankshaft. I did just get back from Fleetari's from repairing all my engine parts, so I'm going to be putting this sweet baby together. And if you're looking for this arrow to pop up when you're putting these together, if you can't find it, you usually have to rotate the part with mouse wheel. Doesn't really matter which direction it's facing half the time, but sometimes it does, so just mess around with it a little bit and you'll figure it out. I'll show you how to tune stuff too, but not the rocker shaft, because I mean I can show you how to do it. I'm just not going to modify mine because mine's already tuned. But gotta go drink water. But also a good way to make money in this game is also by brewing, which you can get from the island, and you get all the supplies and bottles from Timo's from the store in town. So also a good thing to also have is MCS editor. I know people say it can break your save, but that's only if you're messing with stuff you don't know. If you look up some guides, you can set it up, and then you can go to like tools and set Satsuma report, and you can see what your condition of everything is. Alright, so now we got the crankshaft, and we'll be putting the pistons in. This is mostly going to be a guide for my brother, because he started playing this game not too long ago, and I kind of wanted to make a video for him and show him how to put the engine together, because this game's really good. And he's really confused, and I don't know if he's ever gotten it done before, so if only working on cars in this game was as easy as real life, it'd be fucking great. Working on cars would be awesome. But I'd like to put on some music in the background while I'm doing this, just to relax, just put an engine together, you know. So, alright, now we put the head on, and one of the first things you can also do is put the oil filter on as well. Now the beginning battery and oil filter you get at the beginning of the game are okay, but you do want to get new stuff from the store because they last a lot longer and are better. Pop the spark plugs in. These are brand new ones I got. I like to take my old ones and set them aside, even if they aren't busted. You can usually check condition by looking at them like this and examining them. If they're black or burnt or brown, you don't want to use them because they're pretty much shot. But you can pause the video, you can slow down the replay speed if I'm going too fast, but yeah. So when you're doing this, when you're doing the rocker shaft, you want to scroll all the way down on each of these screws and scroll up 7 times, or 7 clicks of the screw, so the rocker shaft's tuned correctly. Because if not, you'll hear a tick, you'll hear a knocking noise, you'll hear like a little, like a click. You don't want that. Alright, that's in. Make sure you put your camshaft in too. If you don't, you can't set the valves to properly time the air and fuel intake to exhaust ratio. So got that in there because you want to make sure you have that in there before you put the distributor in, because I mean you won't be able to put the distributor in. And I'll show you how to tune the distributor, because every time you take out the distributor it randomly gets reset to a different position every time, so I'm gonna have to retune it. Screw the head in. And all the parts at the beginning of the game are usually low or bad condition, so you'll be able to drive the car once you get the wheels from the mansion. You'll be able to drive the car for like a little bit, but after that it's most likely going to shit itself, so you're going to want to, instead of buying brand spanking new parts, which is a lot of money, you can take all your broken or bad parts, take it to Flatari, and there's a thing in a service manual you can choose, and it's pretty expensive, but for 2,000 marks or whatever, you can get most, if not all, your parts up to 50 or 75 condition when they were at 10 or so. It's definitely a good investment if you're repairing a bulk amount of parts at once. But if you're doing individual parts, just buy the individual parts. Alright, now that that's on there, we can put the oil pan on. Make sure you screw that bottom nut in as well when you start putting oil in, or else you're going to get oil everywhere. And you're just going to be wasting oil. You can also get all the fluid you need from the shop in town as well. You'd probably be spending, if you buy everything in town, like new headlight, bulbs, everything, you're probably going to be spending around about $1,000 or so, $1,500. So you use control to zoom in to get a better look at things as well. Put the camshaft gear on. It should be a socket 10 size socket. And you'll notice as I'm screwing this in, this little notch on here. Shit, I gotta adjust this 1 second. Fuck. 1 second. There we go. You'll see here, this notch has to be lined up with this and this, or else your valves won't, it won't fire properly, and you'll hear a heavy knocking noise. Your engine will be intaking through the exhaust and exhausting through, well, blowing out your intake, and you don't want that. So you want to adjust that notch all the way around to the point where it's lined up with the crankshaft, like that. Then you grab your timing chain, slap her on there, and then you grab your timing cover, slap her on there, and then I think it's a size 6. Dickheads outside, man. Click all these on. Alright, and you want your water pump. That's the starter. Water pump should be a size 7. Click all these on. I might do another video where I do it from a fresh start, but I don't want to start over because this took me God knows how long to do, and I can show you guys how to, you know, build the car and stuff. Put the water pump pulley on the water pump. Go. And you take your crankshaft pulley, and you can also get spray paints there as well. If you ever have extra money, you can spray paint these parts, as well as I have the twin carburetor because I bought it from the catalog and mailed it out, but you'll get the carburetor here that you have to manually tune, and you have to put the air filter on. I believe it's a size 6 socket, size 6 wrench, spanner, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, so And the carburetor, these are the same size and everything, but this is the starting carburetor. It's kind of bad, but what can you do when you have nothing? You have no money, right? But you don't have to line this one up with anything because it's already lined up under the timing cover. And then you can take your alternator, smack her on there. Takes a size 10 in the back and a size 7 up there and a screwdriver. I'll show you. So you want to take your, before you screw in the screwdriver, you want to take in your alternator. You want to take your alternator belt, slap her on there. And you want to tune it. You want to scroll it all the way down to where it stops moving because it's on the belt. And then you want to do it 2 ticks up because that's the optimal tuning range. It won't squeal and it won't do too much wear on the belt. And you scroll all the way up, and there you go. There's the serpentine belt and water pump and everything done on that side. So now you want to do the flywheel and stuff on the other side. So we're going to take this side, plop her down like this. Now you can use the engine lift, the engine hoist when doing part of this. You just have to put on the headers, but I feel like this is a lot easier when you can just adjust things around like this. You can just set it aside like that and bam. Now it's going to take a couple tries to get as good as placing stuff like this, but once you get it down, it's pretty good. Now these are size 7. You'll have the stock flywheel here, but I got the racing one because it has better shifts. But this is your stock. It's the same thing, just this one looks different and plays differently with how the car, like quicker speeds and stuff. But once you have the money, you can also get the socket set, but you know. And then you got flywheels on, and then you got your clutch disc, and you got your clutch pressure plate and cover plate. You want to put your pressure plate into your cover plate, and you want to put your clutch disc into your clutch cover plate. And you put the whole assembly onto the flywheel, and you screw in the flywheel with number 6 a size 6 spanner or socket. So let's grab a size 6 and put her on there. You'll have 6 individual bolts here. You screw on. And I know I'm probably mentioning this really late, but you'll know you're on the bolt when it highlights green. Alright, so now that the flywheel and clutch and everything's on, you want to put your engine, oh shit, you want to drop your engine on its side, kind of like that. You also put your oil filter on like that. You can take your gearbox and you put it on like so. And now you can finally drop your engine flat without it tilting. If I can stop dropping my fucking engine, 1 second. Like so. Put it like that. Now it can sit flat. So I'm recording something to show George. Am I being too loud? Take a size 10 and you scroll it in, and then you got your size 7s here. You want to make sure you put your inspection cover on it as well when you go to do inspection, because it won't pass, but it's really a cosmetic thing. Got this one, and these bolts. Now you want to put your, oh wait, shit, I forgot about the fucking cover plate. So fuck, hold on, we gotta take it all off. This is the problem when you forget about stuff. So you wanna, so if you're still following me here, you wanna take fucking everything back off. You gotta take off fucking, you gotta unscrew your gearbox and shit. But everything is pretty much reverse assembly of this, so it's not really hard to do. You just have to remember how you installed it and then uninstall it in that order. Because the reason you need the engine plate is what holds the starter, so you can't start your car without the starter. So we gotta take off the clutch plate. The good thing is if you want to replace your starter or gearbox, you don't have to disassemble the whole engine. But if you have to replace like your pistons and stuff, you have to take off the whole engine. There you go. So, and when you take off the clutch plate, you can just leave everything in there. You don't have to completely disassemble it unless you're taking out the clutch. So now you want to take your engine plate once you've gotten here, before you even put on the flywheel and stuff. You take your engine plate and then you take your starter and put it on here, and it's the same size, it's a size 7 as the flywheel, so you don't have to switch. There. Now you can put on your flywheel and put everything back together, because I'm a dumbass and forgot about the starter. And basically the starter spins the flywheel to start the whole engine to get the process going. Then you put everything back on the way you had it before. Once you get comfortable disassembling and reassembling the engine a bunch of times, you just remember what sizes go where. And there's also plenty of guides as well online to help you assemble the engine. Especially with the wiring in the car, you're definitely going to need it, because there's a lot. Alright, now we can put everything back together and get back on track, because I forgot about the fucking engine plate that holds the starter. Now you can screw in the bottom bolts here before you put the inspection cover on, but the top four I mean, have to be put on with the inspection plate, like that. But yeah, so almost done with the engine now. We have to put the drive gear on that lets the engine shift between gears. Basically acts as the clutch, so we don't strip the gears or anything when shifting. I think it's a size 6 to do it. Yep. There's 7 bolts in total, 6 on the actual gear, 1 on the where the fluid goes to shift. That's what puts pressure on this to hold the clutch in. So in a manual car, when you hold the clutch pedal down, this is what's pushing the clutch in to stop the engine from spinning so you can shift gears, or stop the gearbox from spinning so you can shift gears, not the engine. Now you can put on your you put on your distributor. Doesn't matter how late you put on your distributor, as long as it's after you put your camshaft in and your whole camshaft, everything's. So what you want to do is you want to kind of adjust this towards the middle. It's not going to be perfect when you first put it on. And you screw it all the way in, and then you pull it out too, because this will let you be able to adjust it without the engine turning off, because it's what tells the spark plugs to fire. You want to take your fuel pump. It goes on this side of the engine near the oil filter. You plop her in there like that, and it's a size 7, and there's 2 bolts. This basically pumps fuel to your carburetor to get the right fuel mixture, or gives it fuel for the carburetor to create the right fuel mixture. So now you take your headers and you plop them on there like a this, and you can see there's the engine mount right there, and there's this one's already on the engine block, but this is the one that lets you actually put the lift in there. There's 5 bolts at all 8mm, size 8, and then you got your actual carburetor, which is 4 8mm bolts. Now, if you're playing for the first time and you're assembling the carburetor, you have your carburetor and then you have your air filter. This I left on because there's no point in taking it off once you actually get the upgraded one, but you can see the two 6 size bolts that go on the top. You pop the air filter on there. So now that that's all said and done, your engine's now assembled. You should have no loose parts or anything. Everything should be all gapped up in size correctly. And the phone's ringing. 1 second. You want to make sure to answer your call and get stuff. Not with that guy though. He's fucking offering magazine, and you don't care about that shit. So now your whole engine's assembled. Here I'm actually usually I don't use the engine hoist, because I mean, honestly, once you have your car assembled, you don't need it. Because I'll show you a neat trick, but you use right click to drop the engine hoist, and you want to lower these up to the little prongs here on the engine, and they should pop up to 10mm bolts. I'm saying millimeter, but it's just genuinely size 10, that's all it is. So, and then if you had your car assembled beforehand, for whatever reason, if you're not playing this for the first time and you needed a guide, you know, hood lock, pops a hood, and then you can do this. So if you have a beer case, usually start with one at the beginning of the game. You can grab it. I'm gonna use an empty one because that's what it's for. You can take it, drop it upside down, and plop it right in the middle of your engine, like so. What you want to do is your goal is to get it under the car, so when you drop your engine on top, this stuff spawns in for it. I'll show you, watch. Don't do what I just did and shatter your windshield, because now I gotta go get that fixed. But yeah, you want to drop it like that, and try your best to get the engine to sit where those black blocks are. Like, see how those bolts popped up for a second? You also don't want to do that as well. You don't want to try to drag the engine through the frame, because it'll knock everything off. That really fucking sucks, because the windshield replacement kind of cost a bit of money. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to save up for the custom paint job and do it all at the same time, because he's going to need the car anyway. So, as you can see, this boat's popped up. It's going to be a little buggy at first, but you'll see what I'm about to do. Watch. Get a size 11. Did it move out of frame? No, it didn't work perfect. We're golden. So you want to start screwing this in, see how it snapped into place. Move the box after, and you put everything into place. 1 and 1, 1 and 1, and 1 and 1. Now you want to hook up everything else back into the engine. I'm actually going to grab my kit because I left everything out here. But like I said, I might do another video where I actually show you how to completely build the car and wire it up and everything. And the only thing I'm gonna need a guide for is probably the wiring for the car, because there's a lot of wiring to do. Like you have your fuel into everything, your fuse box, your DAT gauges. Like it's fairly in-depth. I really like this game for its in-depthness. It's very nice. So if you have your gear linkage already installed for everything, you want to hook it up to your engine with 3 bolts. You got 1 and 2 here, and you got 3 up here. You got, this is what you're actually going to need a spanner for. Believe it or not, you're going to actually make use of the spanner kit, even if you get the sockets, because you can't put a socket on something that requires a spanner. Like, I'll show you an example. So for here, let me grab a size 7 socket. For here, this is where the clutch is, where you can where your thing applies pressure. Notice how I can't interact with that with a socket. I grab my size 7 spanner, and wow, I can interact with it and tighten it down. It's because you can't put a socket over a line. There's no bolt. It's a nut. So, but yeah. So, and if you already have the size 7 socket, you might as well screw in the exhaust right here as well. And got those all locked in. Only other things that connect to the engine right now is the battery, which connects to the starter, which I can actually put that in right now because the positive terminal's still there. You'll wire it up and that bolt will appear. You want to grab your battery. I'm going to grab the one that's been charging because, you know, charged battery, it's better. Slap her in there. You can take the, if you ever get a backup one, always place it on the charger because they slowly discharge over time. Mind you, these ones take a lot longer than the old battery, but they do discharge over time as well, so I like to leave it on the charger. I don't know if it causes an electrical fire or not, but whatever. So, I'm actually going to grab my wiring so I can wire up the negative side to the battery as a ground. This is the thing you're going to be using. You don't want to lose this because you cannot buy a new one of this. You're going to want to loosen the top bolt of the starter all the way. Grab your wiring mess and kind of just like fiddle around in the engine to look for that. You press F, and then you press F again, and boom, your negative terminal is set up. Then you want to re-tighten that down. And the battery takes size 8, I believe. You want to screw the positive always first, and then the negative, because if you leave the negative on, you'll start an electrical fire. Now, when you do take the engine out, you'll have to if you already filled it up and you're rebuilding the entire engine, you'll have to refill your clutch fluid and refill your radiator fluid. Now, funnily enough, the way this game works is you can piss in your radiator and it still counts as radiator fluid. It's not any worse, but I like to get coolant because, I mean, it makes sense, but this is a video game, so. Now that that's all said and done, you want to take your half shafts and plop them in here like this. It takes 1/14mm on the wheel, and it takes it takes 3/9, and that's for each drive shaft. So I'm gonna grab a 14, tighten it down. I'm gonna grab a 9. You can press Q to lead into the engine too, and tighten all these up. And you want to do the same on the other side because you have 2 wheels. Grab and plop it in there like that. The great thing about this, if you take your engine out, you don't have to worry about your steering or your brakes or nothing like that. It's just the engine. Now the wheels you get from the attic in the mansion are guarded by a wasp. You want to hug the wall, and you also need a like a tractor, the sledgehammer, to break down the front doors. But there's a bunch of guides online that tell you how to start up the car and how to get it all good and whatnot. But you know, so you know, grab your radiator hoses, this one goes up top. Radiator hose on 1 goes there. Radiator hose 3 connects here. Here, let me see if I can get it. I'll show you where it's at after I get it slapped in here. Your ideal place to put it is here. It doesn't really go anywhere else. You can't really like adjust them or nothing. They kind of just snap into place. And then all of these get tightened down with a screwdriver. Now, your engine rebuild's not going to be as quick as this because if you're doing it for the first time, you know, it's your first time doing it, you need to slowly take it step by step. Don't rush it, don't rush anything, because if you don't put something on the right way, or you forget to top off fluid or whatever, your car can catch on fire, and if you don't have the fire extinguisher, you're going to have to start again. Like, that's how brutal this game is. You can have fire damage on your car and everything, it's gonna suck. Alright, now that that's all in there, we can actually open up the radiator. I got the racing radiator. You'll have the stock one when you start the game. But you can get all these upgrades from the catalog in there. You just gotta take the envelope to the store and place it in the mailbox and wait for T-Mo to call you on the phone. That's why you want to always answer your phone because you don't know who's calling. I'm actually gonna leave this beer case in here because it's really good. Make sure you, like I said, don't lose your wiring mess or any of anything like these, because they are not replaceable. You cannot replace them. Put this up here. But yeah, you'll have these seats when you start the game, but I got the harness because I have the roll cage and everything. Alright, let's go have the fluid. Now, in order to fill up all the fluid here, you're gonna need 2.5 bottles, but you can't buy half a bottle, so you gotta buy 3 bottles from Temu. Alright, open the cap. So, just want to tilt the bottle upside down and do that. And you'll know if it's empty if it says empty on it. That's what those down there are for. They're empty, and they don't despawn when you load saves and stuff. So before I even run back, let me grab the coolant so I can pour this into the radiator. Yeah, but it's pretty much a whole engine rebuild. And like I said, like twice before, I might do a video where I just show you how to rebuild the whole car. But yep. All the parts I showed you are the only ones that can be replaced. Now you can always buy upgrades to like the chassis and stuff for like the suspension, better wheels and stuff, but you can't replace the head, you can't replace the distributor, stuff like that, camshaft. Those you cannot lose, because if you lose them, you pretty much beat. But yeah, let's get her started for the first time, and I'll show you how to turn the distributor, and then if you're only doing an engine rebuild, you're pretty much done. Oh wait, you want to also make sure to top off on fluid, oil as well, because you did just take apart the whole engine, and if you're running an engine without oil, it's going to overheat and catch on fire, and that's not good. But you can also buy a fire extinguisher from Temu for like 200 marks, and it comes with its own mount and everything. Those take like 5 or 6 millimeter bolts. Usually takes this one canister, if you buy it fresh, usually does 2 oil fills. So you basically top her off and get a color at night. But yeah, you don't have to press that for anything. You just tilt the bottle upside down, get the cap as close as you can to the open hole, and it'll pop up a bar, and you'll start hearing a noise saying you're filling her up. And yep, there you go. Now, I do like to hold on to bottles I've partially used, as you can see with all the fucking bottles, but every time I go to the store, either, if I don't remember if I have some at home, I usually just get some as a just in case. So let me go drink some more water. But yeah, you can fill up, if you don't have any coolant, like I said, you can piss in the radiator and it'll fill it up the same. So now you want to make sure you have your screwdriver, and you want to go in your car and start the engine, and we'll see if she turns over. It usually takes about 5 seconds. If you're holding this for about 5 or more seconds, then it's a problem. And then you pull the choke out on the right. You'll know if it's out if it looks like that. Oh, we'll see. There's a problem. Now see how it died with the choke being out? It means our distributor's too under-tuned. We need to tune it down a little. See, that's why it needs to be in the middle, so you can at least have the engine idle without it stalling. So let's try to turn it over again. See how it fired right up? And notice how it didn't stall that time because the distributor's properly tuned. Now what you're listening for, let me pause my music. What you're listening for when you tune the distributor is like a light clicking noise. So you want to put your tool away and you look for the hand scroll. It's that noise. You want to, as soon as you hit that noise, scroll up slowly. And once it disappears, that's how you know that's the perfect tune for you. And now your car should be properly tuned and everything should be working great. And I'll show you a little bit of a drive. Make sure you put the choke back in. And you can also tune the carburetor yourself by checking. Well, you don't need this gauge. This gauge you have to buy from the catalog. But you want to make sure you have your choke all the way in, or else it won't pop up. But you're looking for not this white smoke, but once the car heats, you want to check it when the car heats up. But this will be like a clear grayish smoke. Here, let me see if I can show you. I actually put it in neutral so I'm not fucking stripping my gears. Here, I'll take her around the block for a sec, get her warmed up. But you also want to hold shift to hold the clutch in. And B and G shift gears. B is downshift, G is upshift. Look at that. Put the whole engine back together. Now she runs smooth. And I'll show you the. I wanted around a 14.9 for the carburetor to be tuned at for optimal fuel to power. But if you want more power, it's a 13. See how that's like a white grayish kinda. And it's kind of clear, but not really. That's what you want. And yeah, so that was building the engine. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll catch you guys next time. Maybe I'll do another complete car rebuild or not.